This painting was done in watercolor, and it's what's commonly called in art circles a master study. The study is of a painting by American artist Winslow, one of my favorite painters of my youth. This painting was painted in watercolor, not the kind you use in school art classes, but the tube kind. It was painted on 300-pound cold press handmade Arches watercolor paper from France. I started out painting watercolors in my youth because watercolor sets were the cheapest paint that students could afford in the way of painting supplies for art class. After I graduated from high school, I continued to paint in watercolor for a time, but I found it too expensive to prepare for shows and sales. It needed a frame, glass, and mats. It was also hard to work with. The paper had to be stretched and taped down securely. If you made a mistake, it was hard to correct, if at all. I went to opaque mediums like oil and acrylic instead, finally settling on acrylic because it could be used like both watercolor and oil paint. In any case, these studies were done as an assignment for a college class. I sold one of them, which is now in Phoenix, Arizona. Living in Kansas City, Missouri, I didn't get much of a chance to see many original Winslow paintings. The local art gallery only had a small one in their collection. It wasn't until years later that I would get to see a huge original at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. I saw the shipwreck painting by Homer while on temporary duty, or TDY, with the U.S. Navy. I had been instructed to report for a work detail, but I did not do so. I got a locker and a bunk and then would slip out of my quarters early before anyone would get up and take the subway to downtown Philadelphia to see the sights. I still have my Philadelphia Art Museum button as a souvenir of my pilgrimage. I was able to get away with this for about a week. In that time, I saw Independence Hall, the Liberty Bell, Billy Penn, or City Hall, and the Philadelphia Art Museum. When I saw how lax everything was, I decided to go AWOL and went home to Kansas City to really enjoy my independence. Oh well, another story. Well, that about wraps it up. I'm trying to keep these short. I'm going to try to post some longer stories later about things like going AWOL or absent without leave, etc. Thank you for watching, and please, well,